So in our previous class, we have studied regarding how Roman Empire got declined, what were the major reasons behind the decline of Roman Empire, like why it was divided into two halves, Western and the Eastern Roman Empire, and which empire could sustain the barbarian attacks, and finally which empire could you know get into the hands of the barbarians. All those details we have studied, the political and economic conditions and the external aggressions on the Roman Empire. So here, in spite of such things, Christianity has spread. Even though Roman Empire fell into the hands of the outsiders, or it was completely, under the hands of outsiders, even during such tough times, Christianity could spread easily. So, what was the reasons? How it spread? Let us see. So, the devolution of Roman Empire, Christianity and its powers center, the Roman. Sorry. So here, after the decline of the Roman Empire. Okay, so when the power center, which is the Roman Empire itself, got declined, the Christian church emerged as unifying force in Europe. So till the emergence of church, which is an institution of Christianity created by the followers of Jesus Christ, the Roman Empire was under the rule of the emperors. But once the emperors became weak and Roman Empire got declined, the power center to unify all the provinces of the Rome or the Roman Empire, it was done by the church. So church is generally, a place where the Christians go and pray. Unlike, it also emerged as a power center to unify all the Christians in Europe, all the provinces which were, under Roman Empire got united by a unifying factor called church. The invading Germanic tribes did not damage the Church of Rome, and it continued to hold spiritual influence over all the Christians. So, as I said, the barbarians, they could destroy, they could loot the wealth, or they could take away all the kingship and other things from the Romans, but they could not touch the Christianity and the practice of Christianity among people, because spiritually Jesus Christ have influenced so much that people could not take it. I mean, it is not that easy for them to take it away from people. So the eastern part of Roman Empire especially, it it has continuously served or worked on retaining of Christianity, as Western Roman Empire was suffering by this time with barbarian attacks and all. Eastern Roman Empire could preserve all the things, and Christianity could unify all the places in Roman Empire. Despite the legalizing of Christianity by Constantine, most of Europe remained non-Christian in 5th century CE. So, at the time of Constantine I, what happened, So the story I'll not repeat again. So he saw something, a cross in the sky, and later, he he got himself converted into Christianity. He then, made Byzantium into Constantinople. He declared Christianity as official religion. So many such things he did. However, I know, in spite of the efforts of Constantine in making Christianity as official religion, still Christianity was not spreading in a full-fledged manner. When Constantine was there, he could declare it as official religion of Rome, but still he could not make it spread properly. It was still limited to Rome and the around areas only. However, in the span of the next 500 years, most people in Europe converted to Christianity. So, after the death of Constantine, nearly after 500 years, it took for Christianity to spread in a full-fledged manner in every state of Europe. So, it almost took 500 years for the entire Europe to get converted to Christianity. and every state of Europe also adapted Christianity as their state religion or their official religion. So when a king or a feudal, see how every state got converted into Christianity. When the king of that particular area or when king of that particular state in Europe or the feudal lord, that means a person who controls all the land in that area, he is referred as feudal lord. So when a king or when the feudal lord converted to Christianity, his subjects would also convert immediately. So what do you mean by subjects here? Subjects means the people. So the people who belong to that king, so whenever the feudal lord or the king gets converted to Christianity, his subjects would also convert immediately. What do you mean by his subjects here? His people. So with the widespread popularity of the religion, the power and wealth of the church increased. So when Christianity started spreading slowly, when kings and the feudal lords getting converted to Christianity, people also started converting into Christianity. And when more number of people joined Christianity, it eventually led to the power and wealth of the church. Church, which was the institution, it started receiving more and more funds from more number of areas and from more number of people. And simultaneously, it became a power center. So the church has become very rich and wealthy and also a power center to control all the Christian community throughout the Europe. And especially among all the churches, the Roman Church emerged as a powerful church because it was like no initial, it was a beginning of days of the Christianity and its institutionalizing. So in the beginning days, the Roman Church served as an example for people to start churches and build churches more. Okay, when Constantine built more number of churches, he also repaired number of churches which we have studied. So thus Christianity got spread throughout the Europe. You can see the map in the slide here how it was spreading. Okay, so the red colored portion, it shows the directions in which this Christianity spread, and the yellow color portion, it was almost Christianized. So in this way, the process of spreading of Christianity was continuing in those days. So the Christian monks, okay, the Christian monks who were generally the followers of Jesus Christ and his teachings, who completely gave up their life in the propagation of teachings of Jesus Christ, they traveled far and wide to spread the message of Christ. So who are the important people to spread the Christianity? It is the Christian monks. Who are these monks? They are the people who followed strictly the teachings of Jesus Christ, and they completely gave up their life in studying the teachings and spreading it to the other people. So new religious orders were established among the monks. That means they have categorized themselves into different groups or sects, and they started building monasteries. That means a group of monks, they started having some constructions called a building kind of constructions called monasteries. And these buildings of Christian monks, which are referred as monasteries, they served as a place of residence. So these Christian monks, they go, they live in that residence, they live in that monastery where, and they read the holy scriptures of or the holy teachings of Jesus Christ. They interpret, they debate, and they write number of books, and also they hand copied Bible. So these were all the activities happening in the monastery. And these Christian monks, they went to different areas, they started such monasteries, and they made such places to preach the religion. Also, they have started missionary concept. So on a mission, they have targeted for a mission. What is that mission? And these people who work for that mission are called missionaries. They were deployed to spread the message of Christ. So they were having these kind of monasteries where they do the work of hand copying of Bible in the and also the teachings of Jesus Christ, interpretation of them, making books, many such things they used to do. Apart from that, They also appointed missionaries. So the job of missionaries is to spread the message of Christ and increase the count of converts. So you can see a missionary here who went to a particular city. He started preaching the teachings of Jesus Christ, and now how people getting attracted towards the teachings of Jesus. And these monasteries built by them became center of learning and training. So whenever the monastery, what exactly the monastery was doing, they train missionaries, they train people for spreading of Jesus Christ. They write number of books, and these missionaries who went outside, they started, you know, converting everybody in the Roman Empire into Christians. So this was like a huge mission they have adopted, and church used to sponsor them. Understand? As church became rich and wealthy, they get money to build monasteries, and these monasteries, again, they create or they train missionaries. These missionaries travel from one part of the place to another part. They just preach the Christianity. As Christianity spread, the number of churches also increased. So suppose a missionary comes here, he converts everyone into Christianity. Now they build a church. And what is the purpose of church? They every week or no, every day, it is the duty of the people to come and preach the teachings of Jesus Christ in this institution called church. Thus, the number of churches also increased. In some places, grand churches were also built in each city of Europe. So in some cities and all, what the Europeans did, sorry, in churches of cities of Europe, churches were built in a big and grand manner so that they can accommodate huge number of people to gather and pray for the Jesus Christ or pray for the teachings of Jesus Christ. So these churches were very active in spreading Christian education. So what served as important in spreading of Christianity? On one hand, it is the monks. On the other hand, it is the missionaries. On the other hand, it is the church and the monasteries. So these all together worked collectively, and finally they could spread Christianity throughout Europe within a span of 500 years. The churches were built in a grand manner, and there was also a huge number of churches being built, and more number of conversions also took place because of this missionary activity and the power of church. So thus these monks have created an important um, place. They have occupied an important place in the conversion of people into Christianity along with churches. So if you look at the monks and monasteries, okay, so these monks and monasteries, so the role of monks and monasteries, as you know, it is very important in the spread of Christianity. So the Church of Rome played a pivotal role in the development of religious and cultural unity among the people. So church, which was rich and wealthy in those days, so what it did, it has played a very important role in the spread of Christianity. So how it created that kind of environment? It could create that kind of environment by encouraging the monks and monasteries. So the church, which served as a center for attending, for all the Christians, helped in religious and cultural unity of the people. If some people gets converted into Christianity to sustain their religious beliefs, to sustain their religious activities, church served as a center. So it always helped in the religious and cultural unity of people of Europe in the medieval period. So the entire Europe, after the decline of Roman Empire, still remained united only because of the church and its activity. In the name of religion, the church united all the people of Europe. The priests were charged with the duties of preaching and performing religious rituals and rites. So in every church, there were some priests. A priest is a person who is in charge of the church. Also, he conducts the prayers of the church. And this person, he has been given certain duties. What are those? Preaching and performing religious rituals and rites. So religiously, the priest has to perform several kind of rituals. That means religious activities, ceremony we call, that all things have to be done by the priest of the church, as well as helping the poor and needy. So the church is also involved with the helping of the poor people and needy people. As it is already wealthy, what they did, so they started helping poor people so that they can also get converted themselves into Christianity, and they'll remain loyal to church. If that kind of help is done, they remain loyal. At the same time, their purpose of conversion is also served. So here you can see a monastery which was, you know, I mean, it's an ancient monastery, which only now the walls and all things have been can be seen now. There are many such monasteries. Even I'll say about the monasteries in the later slide. So this is one such monastery you can see here. These monks, they traveled and lived among the common people. The monks never sat in one place. The missionaries never remained themselves in one place. They travel and lived among with common people. However, some of them choose to have secluded life. Some monks, they traveled from one place to another place and they interacted with common people in that area. Slowly, they developed some kind of bond with them. They converted them, they made a church to be built, and thus they promoted. Some people, they preferred secluded life, that means a separate life. Some monks did not do things like this. They completely got separated away from the normal life, and they were known as monks. So, some people who believed in the teachings of Jesus Christ, they led a secluded life, a separate life, a what do you call a cut off life from the general life, and they devoted and they were known as monks. And these people who are called monks, they lived their entire lives to the religious duties and took vows of not getting married. So these monks, who are very serious people regarding the Christ, Jesus Christ and his teachings, they completely left the families and all. They also sometimes took a decision of not getting married at all from the very young age. And what they did, they lived in a separate monastery, and they took vow. That means they took a promise to themselves that they will not get married, and they will completely involve in the religious duties of Christianity. And some women also did this. Men who strictly wanted to follow the teachings of Jesus and live in that kind of life, they were called monks. And women who followed the same path were called nuns. You can see nuns here, and you can see monks here. They reside in nun. So if it is a place of nuns living, the monastery is called nunnery and or convents. If it is for monks, it is called monastery. This is such one monastery, and if women all live there, it is called nunneries or convents. The monks lived in a monastery, or it is also called abbey. Okay, inside it were several living quarters. So how it was, here I am describing these, internal details of the monastery. It has several living places where they personally living space and all for the monks and the nuns. Okay, and they have a storeroom, they have a kitchen. It also have a small church inside for the priest, where the priest prayed or the monks prayed. Many times hospitals, schools, and libraries were also attached to the abbey. So these people lived inside monastery with living rooms, kitchen, storerooms, as well as a church for praying. Along with this, these monasteries, they always had attachment with the schools around the monastery, hospitals. Through church, they get lot of funds, and these funds were used in construction of hospitals, schools, and libraries so that they can promote their religion. The monastic life, so there were beautiful gardens, orchards, and ponds outside. So these monasteries were not just simple, but they were very peaceful. They were very, grand sometimes. There are beautiful gardens around these monasteries. Orchards were there, where the fruits and all will be growing, and there were nice ponds outside built for bringing such peaceful environment. And the monastic life was disciplined and simple. They do not behave as they like. There is a strict code of conduct that they should only have a simple life. There was a strict code of conduct to be followed by the residents. That means they should not get married, they should not get attracted with to the all the worldly happiness and all. Completely they should immerse themselves in the teachings of Jesus Christ, and they must involve in the activity of prayer, spreading the Christianity. So thus the monks and monasteries, they are responsible for the spread of Christianity in a very big way. So we just now studied what is monks and what are monks, who are monks, and what is monastery. What was the impact of these monasteries? Okay, how it really got people attracted towards it, that we will see now. The monasteries played an important role in the medieval Europe. The monks and nuns engaged in social service. That means by starting hospitals, schools, and many such things, they adapted the nearby villages or local people. They started doing social service. Also, their spiritual duty was also done simultaneously. What was the spiritual duty? To spread Christianity and to spread the teachings of Jesus Christ. By helping people, they also started doing the spiritual duty. They nursed the sick and wounded, taught children, cultivated the land around the monastery. Whoever is sick, unhealthy, whoever is wounded, the nuns and monks, they went, they helped them, taught children education. They gave some basic education to children, cultivated the land around monasteries so as to give food to people who are very poor and all. They cultivated the lands, and they gave shelter to the needy. If somebody is not having shelter and all, these monasteries also provided shelter to such people. The monasteries were decorated with beautiful architecture, including murals, stained glass painting. So, as I said, the monasteries are not just like very ordinary things, but they were in a bit grand manner only. But the life of a monk or nun will be very simple. But the monastery looks in a grand way. You can see these murals, okay, painting with oil painting kind of things, so mural and glass paintings. These were decorated on the walls of the monasteries. The contribution of monasteries was particularly profound in the field of education. So these monks and nuns, they focused on education of people. What education generally they prefer? Of course, they prefer the religious text education. Bible, Christianity, the teachings of Jesus Christ is the primary focus. But along with the religious education, the monks also trained students in disciplines of history, philosophy, medicine, law, and astrology, the medicinal herbs, including the interest of botany. So what not, every subject they trained the students around the monasteries. Not only they trained students in terms of the religious text called Bible, but also they trained other children around the villages in history, philosophy, astrology, other kind of subjects. So they attracted in this way, huge masses towards them. The libraries established by them were full of books handwritten by priests. As there was no printing machine and all in those days, every book has to be written, all the copies of Bible have to be written through hand. So they were referred as hand copies. Apart from subject books, there were also copies of Bible and prayer books, and universities of great timeless renown such as Oxford and Cambridge were part of the Christian commissions which were developed into secular universities. The thing to say here is these Cambridge and Oxford universities were once great monasteries. Hence, you can see even today in the field of education, in terms of science and other education, these universities are most pioneering institutes in the world, Oxford and Cambridge University. How the monks and nuns who has started these now in the name of monasteries, they also had an idea of philosophy, medicine. They had turned these centers into educational centers also. So, however, with the gradual rise of power, the church started becoming conformist and domineering. So, with huge conversions into Christianity and with huge funding to it, the church became so dominative, authoritative. Every Christian was expected to observe absolute and utter loyalty to the church and obey every mandate issued by church without any question. The church has turned into an authoritative center. With seamless power and wealth, there was nobody to question the church, so the church turned into a dictatorial authority, and whatever it says, it has to be done. Such a kind of change has been observed with the church during the medieval times. Apart from the spread of Christianity, apart from starting of monasteries, and other things, the church also turned into a dictatorial authority, which later had resulted in several problems with Christianity. I know that is not part of our lesson, but it has resulted in many serious issues with church. So this is the impact of monasteries on the spread of Christianity.